Happy Sunday night, guys. Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina. We're going to be talking fishing, giving you lots of tips, tricks, and more coming here shortly. I appreciate you tuning in. If you're not watching this live, go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. If you are watching this live, we're going to start it up around 8:30, so about 10 minutes. We'll get rolling here. I appreciate you tuning in. Remember, Hubbard's Marina, we've been fishing local waters for 90 years, over 90 years, and 4 generations. Since 1928, we're going to have tons of fishing tips, tricks, and more coming at you very shortly here. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to get started here on Facebook, and again, around 8:30, we're going to start this live. So if you're not watching this live, go ahead and skip forward 10, 12 minutes, and you'll see the video start. Happy Sunday night, Facebook. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Captain Dylan Hubbard here from Hubbard's Marina, coming to you live this Sunday night to talk fishing. We're going to talk fishing tips, tricks, and more. We're going to give you fishing reports. We're going to show you how to rig for kingfish. We're going to talk a lot about fishing tips, tricks, and more tonight, guys, so I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you're not watching this live, if you're watching the rerun, you can catch it next week live. We do this every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. If you're not watching this live, you can skip forward to where you see the video start. If you are watching this live, just bear with us here, guys. We're going to get started sometime around 8:30 p.m. So we got about 8-9 minutes here before we get started. I appreciate you popping in the video. Hopefully you're excited for a great show tonight. We got a good one lined up for you. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for tonight. We got some more videos lined up from our captains and crew here at Hubbard's Marina. So there's going to be lots of guest appearances without guests being here in the studio with me. So a little bit more elbow room for me, but still lots of cool stuff for you guys. So I hope you are ready for a great show. I know I am. Looks like we should be working well tonight. Doesn't look like we're having any issues here. So going to be a great show. Again, if you're watching this live, just bear with us. We'll get started sometime around 8:30. If you are not watching this live, you're catching a rerun, you can go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. It'll be about 8 to 10 minutes from now. We'll go ahead and start this video up. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you're in for a great show. We're going to be talking fishing, tips, tricks, more. We're going to be talking about the weather. We're going to be talking about upcoming trips and what's going on here at Hubbard's Marina. We're going to be talking Black Friday deals. Smokey's going to pop in and show you how to rig for a kingfish. Lots of cool stuff on the show tonight, so I appreciate y'all tuning in. Please go ahead and click like and share on this video. I'd highly appreciate it. And give us a few minutes and we'll be rolling here shortly. Hopefully everybody's having a great Sunday. I know I had a good Sunday. The 39-hour came in this morning. Did very well. We're going to show you some photos and a video from that trip. We're going to be showing you some other cool photos and videos here shortly. So if you're watching this live, just bear with us. We'll get started around 8:30. If you're not watching this live, you can go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. Remember to share the video on your timeline and with your favorite fishing club. I'd appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you like our page. You can also follow our page on Facebook, and that'll make sure that it updates you every time we go live. In addition to liking the page, following the page will keep you even more up to date so you don't miss any of those special deals. We have our 2019 schedule coming out here December 1st. If you want to book a 2019 fishing trip with us at Hubbard's Marina, those specialty trips will become available shortly. Remember, if you are watching this live, bear with us. We start around 8:30. If you're not watching this live, you can skip forward to where you see the video start. Just another few more minutes here, guys. We're going to get rolling. Got some cool photos and videos to show you. Some rigging tips and tricks. We're going to be going over the weather and more. Hopefully you guys have some good questions lined up. And you're ready for a good show. What day is it? It's Sunday. Oh, man. I'm tired. I don't know about you guys. All right, guys, just a few more minutes here, about 5 minutes. We're going to go ahead and get this thing rolling. Remember to comment where you're watching from. Make sure to like the video for us. That helps us spread the word. And if you can, share this video stream on your timeline or with your favorite fishing club. We're going to get rolling here in just about 5 minutes. Remember, 8:30 p.m. every Sunday night, we do these live fishing shows where we give you tons of fishing tips, tricks, and more. So another 5 minutes or so, we'll get rolling. If you are not watching this live, if you're catching the rerun, you can go ahead and scoot forward to where you see the video start. Again, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Hopefully you guys are ready with some good questions about nearshore and offshore fishing, because I'm ready to answer them. We got lots of photos and videos to show you from our recent trips here at Hubbard's Marina. We're going to be running through some of those, talking a little bit about what we've been catching and how we've been catching them, and giving you some tricks and tips to help you catch more of them. Remember, guys, we're going to be starting around 8:30 p.m., so just another minute or two. Just another minute here, guys. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Happy Sunday night. We're going to get rolling here around 8:30 p.m. If you're not watching this live, you can skip forward to where you see the video start. If you are watching this live, just bear with us another minute or two. And make sure to like this video stream. It really helps us out if you like the video. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel. And if you're on Facebook, help us out by sharing the video to your timeline. We're going to be starting up here at 8:30 p.m. Sound. There we go. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Captain Dylan Hubbard here from Hubbard's Marina, talking to you more about fishing tips, tricks, and more. This is the show we do every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. We're going to talk for about an hour here and give you lots of fishing tips, tricks, and more. We're going to talk first about what we've been catching, how we've been catching it, and giving you some tips, tricks, and more on how to catch them. And we're going to show you some videos from some of our captains and crew to kind of give you an update from them as well, what's been going on here at Hubbard's Marina. So first things first, we're going to show you some of the fish from our 39-hour trip that came in this morning. If you didn't see the video this morning, we always do a live update every morning, well, most mornings, about the weather and what's been going on at Hubbard's Marina and what we're seeing as far as the red tide goes and stuff. And this morning's video was live on the back deck of our 39-hour fishing trip. My cousin, Captain Garrett Hubbard, ran the 39-hour this weekend, and they did very well. But don't take my word for it. Let's go ahead and see the photos. Alrighty. So here is a nice mangrove snapper from our 39-hour fishing trip here. They did very well this weekend on some big mangrove snapper. They got a lot of them, nearly a boat limit of mangroves yet again. So really good bite on the mangrove snapper. My favorite rig for those mangrove snapper is that double snell rig, a double snelled thread fin, plugged out, meaning you cut the head off, cut the tail off, trim the belly a little bit, and put that double snell hook rig in there. And it's just a mangrove snapper killer. Typically on the 39-hour trip, I'm using around a 6/0 hook and around 50-pound fluorocarbon for these mangrove snapper this time of year. But Will is going to give you some more information on those mangrove snapper here in a video. Here's our first mate, Will, showing off a nice big old gag grouper. Our other first mate on this trip, Captain Joe, showing off a nice stringer of mangrove snapper, and his nephew, Chucky, or Chuck Jr., showing off some of the mangrove snapper he caught. So it was just a mangrove snapper fest. Towards the end of the day, the end of the trip, they did very well on not only mangrove snapper, but they also got some nice kingfish and tuna. I see a lot of people in the questions, a lot of people in the comments asking about the Flying Hub 2. We've got a video from Captain Anthony talking about the first trip they did on the Flying Hub 2 yesterday here shortly. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about the Flying Hub 2 as well. So this is one of the big kingfish they caught. Towards the end of the trip, we got in this area where the mangrove snapper bite was just going off. And a lot of the guys were knocker rigging out baits because the mangrove snapper were so thick, they were coming up to the surface up off the bottom. So a lot of the mangrove snapper action attracted a lot of big pelagics. Not only did we pull off some kingfish, but we also got some nice tuna towards the end of the trip on the flat line. We also caught some of these kingfish while trolling. Right now, the Rapala X-Rap Magnum 30 with the red head and white body has been the go-to bait for the kingfish and occasionally the tuna while trolling. This is a nice big old fat red grouper. The long strips of squid and the strips of bonita have been going very well for these red grouper. I typically would use about a 7/0 circle hook and around 60 to 80 pound test for those red grouper, and a big old hunk of some nasty oily bait really goes a long way to get you a big old fire truck red grouper like this guy here. Now this is actually his swim bladder sticking out of his mouth. That's called barotrauma. And it's very important that if you catch a fish that's out of season or closed, that you vent that fish. And you would vent that fish by using a venting tool right in this general area. We like to use some of the stringers, and all you do is use your thumb and forefinger as a stopper, so only maybe a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch of that venting tool sticks out above your thumb and forefinger. That way you're able to quickly and easily penetrate the skin of this fish by first sticking the venting tool up towards the mouth of the fish, getting up underneath those scales and then going down into the fish. You'll hear that gas escape, and that fish's stomach will get nice and soft, and that's how you can vent the fish and release him back to the bottom to live and fight another day. So this is an evidence of barotrauma, and venting that fish would allow you to release it. In this case, this one got released into the fish box. A nice big old red grouper from the 39-hour trip. This is a nice big old amberjack. Amberjack are open May, August, September, and October right now. So this amberjack was caught and released. But a beautiful fish nonetheless, and a great fight, I'm sure of it. So it was a great time catching and releasing some of these big amberjack. Typically on the amberjack, I'd be using about a 10 to 12-aught hook and around 100-pound to 125-pound leader. And the biggest, ugliest reel I could find, typically those 9-aught Daiwa 900s are what I love, or a big old Penn 9-aught. Now, this is a unique fish. I posted this one on the Tampa Bay Fishing Club today, and it didn't take very long for those guys to figure out what this one is. This is a very good eating fish. We'll see if any of you guys in the live video can comment and tell me what this guy is. Very good eating fish. Pretty common when we're out fishing in the Atlantic. Fairly rare in our area, but we do catch them a lot, especially in the northern Gulf around the oil rigs. They're a little bit more prolific, but it's a very someone already got it. It's a Creole. That's right. Ivan Popoff got it immediately. That's a Creole. It's called an Atlantic Creole. Very good eating fish. Now we have Captain Joe, who was mating on this trip, showing off a nice big old gag, mangrove snapper, some porgies, and a yellowtail. We had a good variety of snapper on this 39-hour fishing trip. A great way to catch a bunch of these porgies and yellowtail is just a small cube of squid. I still like using my mangrove snapper setup, my double snell rig, instead of a chunk of thread fin or a plug thread fin. I'll just put down 2 chunks of squid, and that's how I like to target a bunch of these yellowtail snapper. And occasionally you're going to catch some porgies mixed in with those yellowtail. Nice big old gag grouper from Mr. John Martin here. Nice fat gag. A lot of the gags have been being caught on some big squirrel fish or sand perch that we catch while we're offshore. The lizard fish work as well. Any of those bait fish that we catch out there, we vent quickly and get it in the live well. And a lot of times you'll be able to use that bait later in the trip for some of these bigger grouper. Because right now we're still struggling with the red tide to get live bait offshore. So the fish we catch out there make great bait. If you don't get any squirrel fish or lizard fish to use for bait, a big old chunk of squid or a strip of squid works well, or the cut bonita has been a great bait. Also octopus. We sell some baby octopus in the shop that we've been using with pretty great success for these big old grouper. Remember, guys, we're going to run through a fishing report. We're going to watch some video updates from some of our captains, and then we're going to get into your questions. But please don't hesitate to comment where you're watching from, and like the video for us. That always helps. Now, this is a very unique fish. This one's a super, super awesome sushi grade quality fish. Let's see if some of you guys can give us the name of this one. Ivan, I don't know if you'll be as quick to name this one. Ivan got the Creole fish very quickly. This one's a little bit more unique. Very good eating. We'll see if any of you guys can pop the name of this unique fish into the comments here as we go through. Nice big old tuna. This tuna was again one of the ones that we caught while we were mangrove snapper fishing at the end of the trip. And look at that, Philip got the rainbow runner right off the bat. You guys are good. Really, really quick. Denoris Hall as well got the rainbow runner. Yes, you guys are correct. That is a rainbow runner, more commonly found in the Caribbean areas and southern Gulf waters. But Look at that, we found one. This is super, super crazy sushi quality fish. Caught one before and put it on an ice bath and ate it raw very, very quickly after catching it. It was incredible. But let's get back here to this tuna. This is a blackfin tuna caught from Mr. Bubba here. And Bubba got this guy knocker rigging for those mangrove snapper towards the end of a trip. On the 39-hour fishing trip, when we get in a really good area where we're catching a lot of snapper, a lot of times if we sit on that spot for over an hour or maybe even 2 hours, we attract a lot of life to the boat. These blackfin tuna, kingfish, wahoo, cobia, and sometimes even sailfish will swim up that natural chum line. What happens is a lot of those snappers that we're catching, as we crank them to the surface, will actually regurgitate a lot of the food they've been eating, and that regurgitation creates that chum line and really attracts a lot of fish up off the bottom and from other areas, and we get a really good feeding frenzy going on behind the boat. We're adding some more floodlights to the back of the boat to attract and hold bait even better, and hopefully that'll encourage that feeding frenzy and the pelagics to the boat even more. So we're looking forward to that. So this is the big pile of fish after that 39-hour trip. We did get a monster African pompano, one of the largest ones I've seen in a long time. We got a good photo of that coming up here. But all in all, a great pile of fish, great variety from the almacos to the yellowtails, to the mangroves, to the vermilions, to the porgies, to the red porgies, the jolthead porgies, the big gags, red grouper, we got gag grouper, scamp grouper, kingfish, tuna, and more. It was a killer 39-hour fishing trip. Nice big old gag there. Big, nice red, nice yellowtail snapper is what I meant to say. And here is that African pompano, or AP, that we've been talking about. That was a monster fish. Mr. Eugene Emery drives down from north of Atlanta in Georgia to come fishing with us. He comes probably every other month or once a month, and he really made the drive worth it with a limit of mangrove snapper, nice big old African pompano, and a few grouper too. So it was a great 39-hour fishing trip. We're going to pop over and listen to Will talk a little bit more about the trip. All right, Will, how you doing today?
Good, just still cutting fish here. We've been laying since about 6:30 maybe.
How was your trip?
Great trip, a little bumpy on the way out, but calmed down when we got there, and decent night fishing, and picked at them throughout the day and had a real good sundown bite at the end of the trip with yellowtails, kingfish, tuna, a ton of mangroves.
Big story was a lot of mangroves again, huh?
Yeah, a lot of mangroves, and guys were flatlining for them and jig heading and getting kingfish and tuna and losing kingfish and tuna as well. The fish were just biting. And,
nice.
A real good finish to this trip here.
Nice. That's a really nice fish, man. So some real good kingfish and stuff like that.
Yeah, the kingfish were biting. We were losing a lot of them on the flat lines, and
they were hitting knocker rigs going down for the mangroves and biting them off.
Like one of the tunas, we caught it on just a chunk of bonita, like a 1-inch piece of bait.
Wow.
A lot of fish were chummed up.
So the end of the day was the real hot bite.
A hot bite at the end of the day, and then a couple of nice gags after dark, and it was time to head back in.
Cool. They still around 120, 140 foot of water?
Yeah, we fished around 120 this trip. Didn't get out. Well, we may have tried a couple spots at 140, but 120 seemed to be the depth this trip.
Very cool. How was your trip, Joe?
It was great.
Yeah, you had another good one?
Yep. Glad to be back out there.
Very cool. And you're running the trip after Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
You excited?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
That'll be cool.
Already preparing for it.
All right. Well, we got the light load coming up on the 27th. You guys that's gonna be a good one, huh, Will?
That's gonna be a good trip, yeah.
And then we have December 4th, another light load. Come out and get a pile of fish and go catch some more.
Nice.
Have a good one, Will.
Yes, sir. Good fishing out there. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Joe. Well, that was it, guys. An update from Captain Joe and Will there after that 39-hour fishing trip. Needless to say, we've been doing really well. We've got super light loads coming up on November 27th and December 4th. If you want to join us for one of those 39-hour fishing adventures, 70 to 100 miles from shore, a 2-day bag limit, 20 hours of fishing, I strongly recommend November 27th, December 4th. November 27th, currently we have like 18 or 20 people on it, and a really, really light load on December 4th as well. So needless to say, those are two awesome trips for you to join us at Hubbard's Marina. In our 2019 schedule for our January, February, and beyond, those specialty trips will be coming out December 1st. But let's go through some of the photos from our private charters this week. Captain Dave on the Hub has been catching a bunch of nice grouper. They were in the grouper again today, just 5-hour fishing trips. Excuse me. 5-hour fishing trips, fishing around 70 to 80 foot of water. We're seeing a lot of grouper, even 60 foot of water. Captain Dave's going to be on the show here shortly in a video to tell you a little bit more about what he's been catching and how he's been catching them. But these grouper are definitely starting to move in for us. This is our new first mate, Devin, showing off some nice grouper that they pulled up on the Hub there. So we got some new captain and a new crew member, and they are tearing it up on the Hub and catching some nice hogfish too. The hogfish bite's definitely getting better and better as the water cools down. It seems like those hogfish are really starting to come in today. Captain Brian on the 5-hour half day on the party boat got 5 keeper hogfish, some really big ones too. So stay tuned for some more hogfish photos coming at you from us at Hubbard's Marina, because the hogfish bite's definitely picking up here. But let's talk to Captain Dave and see how he's doing. How you doing this morning, Dave?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How was your trips this week?
It was awesome. Bite's been great, and yeah, those gags are finally moving in, so we had some good luck with them.
Yeah, the gags. How was the gag bite this week?
It was insane. It literally, they're starting to move back in, and started using some more live bait. You know, it's been hard to get live bait out there, but we've been catching some small grunts and some sand perch and stuff, and they've been destroying them.
Nice, nice. So the gags really have been biting on those live sand perch that we're catching out there?
Yep, they absolutely love it. Yep.
Nice. Are you still butterflying some of the dead baits for the gags?
We are butterflying them, but what I started seeing when we started using the small grunts is literally, I had one of my passengers catch a small grunt. As it was coming up, I had a 20-pound gag hit that, and that's kind of what opened my eyes to that. And we started using some of the smaller grunts and sending those back down, and they were just blasting them.
So a real good bite of gags this week. I know one trip you had like half dozen or something, right?
I did. That was on a half-day trip, so we probably got 4 keeper gags, 1 really good red, and probably threw back another dozen.
On a half-day fishing trip?
On a half-day, yep.
What's the range of water where you're seeing these gags?
We're starting to see them between 60 and 70. You know, before we were catching them right around the 90 mark, but they seem to be coming in a little bit closer now.
Nice, nice. What about the hogfish?
Hogfish, same thing. You know, a lot of them on the pipeline and stuff, so we've been going a little bit south with them, a lot of good rock down there, and just take plenty of shrimp with you, but the hog bite's been really good as well.
Cool, cool. Any tips or tricks this week? Any flatlining fish? Anything unique?
Yeah, same thing. When I was with the gags, we were putting flat lines out. We got a couple kings that day as well. So anytime I'm grouper fishing, I always have a flat line out. If you don't have a line in the water, you're not going to catch them.
This time of year on the flat lines, what are you using for bait?
I actually had some small blue runners that we got into, and I threw those out. If you don't have a blue runner, you can always throw any other type of live bait out there, but a threadfin works as well. So just a dead frozen threadfin if you don't have the live bait, and then if you have the live bait, you prefer the blue runner? That is correct. Cool, and you're using those kingfish rigs, the stinger rigs? I always use a stinger rig. What pound wire do you prefer? Usually 30 to 40 pounds. I try and keep it as light as possible, but a stinger rig is always the best way to go. Do you do the double trebles like Smokey, or do you use one J in the nose and then a treble for the stinger? I always use a double treble. Double treble. Double treble treble. That's right. All right, man. Well, have a good trip today. Enjoy. You got it. We'll talk to you next time. All right, so that was Captain Dave talking about his Hub private charters he's had this week. And they've been doing really well out there on some big fish. And he talked a lot about some
let me try to pull up the video here. Struggling. He talked a lot about stinger rigs, and we've been using those stinger rigs to flatline for kingfish quite a bit. So I wanted to bring you a video from our first mate Smokey, our fearless first mate on the party boat trips. He's doing the 10-hour all days, and the 10-hour all day has been having a hot bite for hogfish. We've been seeing a lot of kingfish. Today's 10-hour all day brought in like a 22-pound blackfin tuna, and we got a lot of hogfish today on the half day and the 10-hour all day. So I don't have any photos yet because that happened today, but I've got a video here of first mate extraordinaire Smokey showing you how to do a flat line or stinger rig for the kingfish. Not only does he show you how to hook it up, but he also shows you how to bait it. So let's watch Smokey in action. How you doing, Smokey?
Hello, Internet.
Smokey's gonna show us how to make a stinger rig. What size wire is that, Smoke?
This is a 44-pound wire.
44-pound wire.
Yep.
Cut a little 6-inch section to start.
Yeah, just like that.
Nice.
But I do two treble hooks.
2 treble hooks.
Yeah.
Take a little piece out, bend it back.
Twist it, make it like that.
Yeah.
Right, and then just keep twisting. Do like 4 or 5 of those. And on this next one, I'm gonna make this one go straight, right on a 45, like that.
Ah,
right?
perfect.
And then you put 4 barrel rolls.
Nice.
Bend it right here.
Yep.
Go back and forth, and it'll pop right off.
Nice. That was quick.
Put another one on the other side, and depending on the size of the bait, is where I put this hook. I'm gonna use a threadfin herring, and it's probably about like that. You want this one right in the nose and this one right in the tail.
All right, so your spacing on the hook is dependent on the size bait you're using.
Exactly. All right, bend it right there. Get it on that angle.
That's a fancy little move. That's just so you don't have to cut it.
Yep. And then this one, if you cut it, it could poke you.
Ah.
Right, this one goes in the hook, not in the wire. So it's hook, the hook here. All right.
In the hook, not the wire.
Same thing.
So 3 twists, and then you turn it 90 degrees. And do another 5.
Yep. About that.
Show us this one where you break it off.
Bend that like that.
You tag in, just bend it 90 degrees.
Back and forth. If you go up on top of that second barrel roll, it won't break off.
Ah.
All right. So look just like that.
So now we've got our 2 hooks. Oh, you're gonna do the line to leader knot or line to wire knot instead of putting a swivel on there?
Yeah, I like to do one about this long because the big ones sometimes they'll swallow the whole leader. And if you have a swivel on there, little mackerels and stuff will hit the swivel.
Ah, so you're avoiding putting the swivel on to avoid mackerels
So
hitting your
bend it
swivel.
right there.
So you're doubling the wire up.
Yeah, just go like that.
Right through the wire.
And then I go around this one like 4 times.
Just like you're twisting the wire, basically.
Yeah, right through there. Slide it down, pull it tight.
A little fisherman's knot. So it's basically a clinch knot, but instead of using mono, you're using wire.
I don't know the name of it.
Huh. Very cool.
Then I'll kind of bend that one up a little bit. And you can clip this thing off pretty short. Right there.
So you cut this wire.
Yeah. You never want to
Can I
grab
see
that
that
thing.
knot?
If you grab it, it'll poke you.
It'll grab you, it'll poke you.
Yeah, so if you go to grab the leader and you got a fish on there.
Can you put your hand behind it? It's a little fuzzy. There you go. Very cool. Nice. And then you got your
Then I got
nice. All right, so where is the fish gonna, or where is the bait gonna get hooked up? Do we have a bait? You gonna show them?
I got a nasty one here.
A nasty one? The nasty one will work. All right, show us how you rig it up.
And it doesn't matter if this thing's dead or alive. You do it the same.
Dead or alive, you hook them the same way.
Right here in the nose, or right there in the nose, straight down, like that.
Straight down in the top of the nose. Oh, fancy.
I go right here in the tail.
Very cool. So down through the top of the nose is the way Smokey likes it. Very cool. And that's all it takes. Free line that out there behind the boat.
And then you want to have a pretty loose, like this reel right here, Ocean Master. Right, when I set it up in the rod holder, I'll set it up with a clicker on. I'll just let it sit out there with about that much drag.
Just a super light drag.
Yeah, a super light drag. When they hit it, I'll let them run for a second with that light drag because they're already hooked. And then once they get away from the boat a little bit, then I'll start to tighten it down a little bit. To wear them out over there instead of right here with all the lines in the water.
Very cool. Thanks, Smokey.
Yeah, man.
Have a good trip today.
You guys have a good one.
Well, that was a cool video there from Mr. Smokey showing us how to do a flat line like an expert. He can tie up those stinger rigs in the time it takes me to tie on a normal leader. It's impressive how quick he can whip those things out. And it's thanks to that little move where he doesn't have to cut the wire and a lot of practice. So very cool tip there from Smokey. We're going to be posting that to our YouTube page so you'll be able to catch that video in the future right on our YouTube page. And we'll be adding it to our fishing tips and tricks page here soon. But I did want to talk to Captain Joe and hear how the 10-hour all-day's been lately. We've been doing really well on the 10-hour all-day. So here's Captain Joe talking about his Tuesday 10-hour. All right, Captain Joe, how's your trip this week? How you guys doing out there? You catching fish?
Yeah, we did great. Tuesday, 10-hour, we ran out. Started 65-ish feet, worked our way all the way out to 90, and fished in that range 60 to 90. And the bite was really, really good. We caught surprisingly a ton of mangrove snappers, more than normal. Bunch of lane snappers, vermilions, porgies, anchored up on a bunch of different ledges, caught some hogfish, handful of throwback gags, a couple of keepers, couple keeper red groupers. Really good bite right now on the 10-hour.
Cool. How are you guys doing on the kingfish on that 10-hour?
Kingfishing's good too. We were trolling the way out. We got a couple on the way out trolling. We had a flat line out most of the day. Smokey was chumming for them. We had a couple of bites on the flat line, a couple of hookups, lost them, and then we trolled around in between spots and got a few more that way too, trolling.
What's your favorite trolling lure for those kingfish right now?
We're using a #1 planer and a squid spoon, green squid spoon. And also Smokey's using those, the bigger lures,
the Rapala
the Rapalas, the red and white, the X-Wraps are working real well too.
Cool. How about on the flat line? What do we use on the flat lines?
Flat line, we're using 33-pound wire with 2 treble hooks, and we've just been using a thread fin, a dead thread fin. Depending on the current and the wind, you may need a balloon, you may not need a balloon. We didn't need one on the all day the other day. We had a little wind, current was with the wind, so it kept our bait right off the stern, just floating a dead thread fin back there, and they were eating it. Cool. That's what we're chumming with too, chunking those thread fins up and just throwing it out every few minutes, and it seems like it's working.
What about those hogfish? What do you recommend for the hogs?
Hogfish, definitely the shrimp. We're catching them on the shrimp alive or dead, and I like fishing light for the hogfish. You always have the opportunity to hook a different species. We hooked a couple of gags on the shrimp. We busted a couple off. But I like a knocker rig. Again, depending on the current and the depth, if you can get away with a 1-ounce sinker and a 4-aught hook with a shrimp, that usually works real well for us.
Cool, man. Any other tips or tricks you'd recommend for this fall fishing time?
Just get out here. They're chewing. Fishing's good right now.
Cool, man. What about the live bait situation? We're not able to get live bait out all the time. So how would you recommend overcoming the lack of live bait?
Just consistency. The thread fins are working really well for the grouper, the mangroves. That's what we caught all our fish on. They were eating the thread fins. which is what we provide on the boat. Also, the squid's working good for the gray snappers, porgies, lanes eat that, the vermilions eat it. And as far as the hogfish, shrimp, I'm not seeing much of a difference on the 10-hour trips or even the 39 hours. I've been working a few 39 hours lately as a mate, and we're doing really well on the 39 hours, catching mangroves like crazy. And the last one I worked with Garrett, we got probably 40 plus head of gag grouper on the dead bait. The thread fins are working really well.
Cool, man. Well, thanks, Captain Joe. Have a good 39-hour trip. We'll see you Sunday.
All right.
All right, Captain Joe there talking a little bit about his Tuesday 10-hour all-day trip. We've been doing well out on the Tuesday or on the 10-hour trips. A lot of hogfish lately. Again, today's 10-hour all-day got a nice big old tuna, a kingfish, and some hogs, along with one keeper-sized grouper and a bunch of nice gray snapper or white grunts, porgies, and sea bass too, along with some lane snapper, a few vermilion snapper. All in all, it was a great 10-hour all-day trip. We also had the Flying Hub 2 take its first trip after dry dock yesterday. We do have a little bit of issue going on with that boat. The props that Mercury recommended are not working as well as we would hoped. So we're going back to the prop we know and love, and that worked great for that boat before. So we're going to switch out the props and hopefully have even better performance than we're getting now. We're getting some fuel issues worked out. We're getting some steering issues worked out. They spent all day working on that boat today. But needless to say, we're working through the bugs, and the Flying Hub 2 is going to be even bigger and better for this fall gag grouper season. So we're looking forward to a great fall gag grouper fishery. Remember, the gags bite best in November and December. So it's a great time to join us for a Flying Hub 2 12-hour extreme. Or if you've got the time, definitely join us for November 27th or December 4th for those super light 39-hour trips. Hopefully you guys enjoy these little video updates and it kind of gives you more of a live update from the captains and crew. So hopefully you enjoy the videos. Let me know in the comments if you like the videos, if you want them to keep coming. We tried this for the first time last week and everybody seemed to really enjoy watching the videos instead of just sitting here hearing me talk the whole time. So if you enjoy the videos, definitely let me know in the comments. Make sure you comment where you're watching from, and please like the video for me. So we're going to show Captain Anthony here talking about his Flying Hub 2 trip yesterday. It was a little bit unique, and let's hear from Captain Anthony. How you doing, Captain Anthony?
Morning. Good.
How was your trip?
It was good yesterday. We ended up getting out to about 75 miles, and we strictly jigged yesterday. So it was fun and interesting to watch those guys just strictly jigging, no bait at all.
How was the fishing?
Fishing was good. It was a little slow in the morning, started picking up in the afternoon, had to really soak out the spots. I mean, we'd sit there for 10 minutes and catch 1 or 2 fish, and then all of a sudden the grouper bite would turn on. And then we get 3 or 4 grouper, then it shut down, move to the next spot, same thing, so on and so forth. A lot of bait was coming out of their mouths, but those guys would just resist and not put anything on their jigs, so that's good.
That's cool. That's cool. So the jigging trip went well overall. A lot of grouper. What else did you get?
Yep, a lot of grouper, a lot of snapper, obviously a lot of jacks along with jigging. That's usually what you get with the jigging, but nothing too crazy. Just grouper and snapper all day.
Yeah. What was the big fish?
Big fish was I think it was about a 30-inch gag. We had a bunch of red grouper that were in their 20s. Nice big scamp, couple nice big scamp, 1 or 2 mangoes. And just really everything, porgies and vermilion too.
So a wide variety of fish on the jigs.
Yep, wide variety. Definitely interested to get a GoPro or a camera crew out there and actually watch them and film them and see their techniques, because everybody has different techniques. You have this guy over here that's doing something completely different than this guy over here. This guy over here was catching more than this guy over there. So it was really a wide variety of techniques. Very.
That's cool. But all in all, it worked out.
Yes, it did. It was a good trip. We got out there, did what we did. It was a little sporty in the morning. It was nice coming in on the way home. So yeah, it was good.
Very cool. Well, thanks for checking in. Have a good day. All right, so the first trip on the Flying Hub 2 behind dry dock went well, and they caught some nice fish on that jigging only trip. So pretty unique there, for sure, to get an opportunity to go out there and just do jigging strictly. So we're looking forward to working the bugs out of the Flying Hub 2 and running that boat all winter time long for a lot of those gag grouper this November and December. And we got a lot of Flying Hub 2 extreme trips on the books, and hopefully the weather will cooperate and let us get plenty of these trips offshore. So we're in that time of the show now, guys. We're going to start answering your questions. So make sure you comment your questions, and we're going to start answering them here live. Fred Craig, I know you had a charity event that you wanted me to share the details on. Unfortunately, your comment disappeared. So Fred Craig, if you're still watching, please comment that charitable event you have coming up, and I'd be happy to shout it out. Fish Slayer 101 asked for a shout out as well. So how you doing, Fish Slayer 101? It looks like you guys enjoyed the videos. Hopefully they weren't too boring for you guys. So I appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. We got another 25-30 minutes here left to answer your questions. So please comment any questions or comment a topic you want me to cover, and we're going to get into that now. Remember to comment where you're watching from and make sure to like the video. Crimson Ghost from YouTube said, I'm hoping to get some good info on grouper and snapper fishing in the middle grounds. Going on my first ever trip at the end of the month. Hopefully it's that November 27th or December 4th 39-hour trips. Super light loads on those trips. But as far as grouper and snapper fishing goes in the middle grounds, elbow, and surrounding areas, the trick is making sure you're following the 3 golden rules of deep sea fishing. Simply making sure that you're holding bottom and presenting that bait naturally. You're hooking your bait so it doesn't spin, and then you have to concentrate on cranking when you feel that bite. Very important. When you feel that bite, you start taking in the slack and getting some tension on that fish as quick as possible. I really love my Daiwa Saltiga LD50. With 40 pounds of drag and a very light, sensitive rod like that Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina custom rod that we have in our shop. It allows me the strength to deal with some gag grouper, most any red grouper, and even some amberjack. And it gives me the sensitivity to catch even the smallest, quickest biting mangrove snapper as well. So those 2-speed reels are a great option for out there fishing in deeper water, because you have the high-speed reel that you can use to set the hook on those quick biting mangrove snapper, but then you also have that low speed that allows you to bring up some big gag grouper. But I would really strongly recommend Crimson Ghost that you check out our website, hubbardsmarina.com. Even if you're not fishing with us at Hubbard's Marina, the website is a great resource, because under fishing trips, you can find the fishing tips and tricks. You can find our weather links page, and we have the fishing rules and regulations page, plus our fishing reports. So a lot of great information here that you can use even if you're fishing on your own boat, you're fishing your buddy's boat, or anything like that. This fishing tips and tricks video page has a bunch of our YouTube seminars from Bass Pro Shops. It's always got our daily video that we do every morning listed here. This is the video from this morning's 39-hour trip showing off all those big fish they caught. We've got our fishing rules there. We've got a bunch of different videos here on what rods and reels to choose for bottom fishing, a bunch of our Bass Pro Shop seminars, mangrove snapper fishing tips and tricks. Strongly recommend you check that out, Crimson Ghost. And then we always have the how weather affects fishing video. Very cool to see. But the biggest, most important video definitely is this how to tie a double snell rig. Very important that you use that double snell rig to the best of your advantage when you're out there on a long range fishing trip, fishing in the middle grounds. That double snell rig with a thread fin plug is going to increase the odds of you catching more fish more consistently, by a ton. So definitely check out that how to tie a double snell rig video. That'll help you a ton. But as far as the fishing out there, you can check out our website and click the fishing trip you're going on. I personally write all the information on our website, and I personally write all the tackle suggestions for our website. So each one of the fishing trips that we offer have a great tackle suggestion area, and that 39-hour page has a very large tackle suggestion area. So check that out. And this coming January and February, we're going to really do a lot of work to increase the information on our site even more. So definitely pay attention and use that to your advantage, whether you're fishing with us or not. Let's see what other questions we have here. Ed Hardy said he really likes the format tonight with the information on the how-to videos and the fishing reports from the week. Very cool. I appreciate it, Ed. I'm glad to hear you guys enjoy the videos. We're definitely going to keep them coming. Michael Kane said, how do you determine what water depth for grouper? Depth according to water temperature? Most of the time, Michael, we use water temperature as a general rule of thumb, but the way we determine depth is just because of the amount of fishing that we do. We anywhere between 1 to 6 boats out there every day, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day. So we have the benefit of knowing where the fish are because we fish a lot. You can cheat and watch our morning videos, and we always talk about what general depth we're catching these fish. Right now, the gag grouper are definitely steadily moving in. If I was you going fishing for gag grouper and hogfish, I would be fishing around that 60 to 80 foot of water mark, hitting some ledges, anchoring up on those ledges, and putting down some dead bait, getting those mangrove snapper fired up. You might even catch a nice gag. If you catch a smaller grunt, sand perch, lizard fish, send them back down there alive for those big gag grouper. Don't forget that flat line for the kingfish and tuna. Right now, that 60 to 80 foot mark is going very well. But as far as how we determine what depth to use for grouper fishing, it's just mainly based off past experience and talking to our fellow captains and using the wide variety of experience and skill sets at Hubbard's Marina. We're blessed with a great team of awesome captains and crew that are really able to communicate with each other and stay dialed in on the fish, and hopefully the fish cooperate with us. But right now, near shore, that 60 to 80 foot mark's going really well. Offshore, 120 to about 150 foot of water's going really well. Definitely deeper water, that offshore water is 120 to 140 foot. Definitely has a lot more action and some bigger fish more consistently. But the near shore fishing, 60 to 80 foot, we're still seeing some grouper. They're just a little bit more difficult to catch. They're a little bit more aggressive. Those fish are definitely on the move. So hopefully that answers your question. Denoris Hall said, was the last 39-hour trip able to get live bait through the red tide? Some live bait did get through the red tide, Denoris. We're still not having live bait at Hubbard's Marina for now. The red tide is still pretty strong, but it's starting to clear up this week. So we're hoping to have live bait for this Friday's 39-hour trip, and we'll see what happens, but time will tell. It's very difficult to catch the live bait, bring it to the dock, keep it alive in the live well, get it to the boat alive, and then transport it all the way offshore alive. That's the biggest problem for us right now. But a few people are bringing their own live bait in their own personal live wells and then putting it in the live wells on the boat right before the boat leaves. And that has been working, but still we're losing a lot of that live bait on the way offshore due to red tide hanging out on the coast. The red tide is anywhere from the beach or from the back bays all the way out to about 8 to 10, even 12 miles some days. So the red tide is very tough to navigate through without losing the live bait on board. But it's one of those things, it's a moving target. One day the red tide's almost non-existent. The next day it's all the way out to 12, 14 miles. So It's one of those things, it's hard to say, especially if you've got a trip scheduled a week, 2 weeks from now. It's one of those things where just time will tell. Hopefully these cold fronts will help break up the red tide. The cooling water should help arrest the growth of the red tide. And more of these dry fronts with high wind and high seas should really help us improve the red tide condition. Hopefully, all we can do is hope and pray that it goes away, because we're sick of it for sure. Let's see what other questions we have here. Frank Sarcone said, are you going to be doing these live shows in the upcoming 2019 year? Yes, we're going to do these live shows every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. And we're hoping to get a sponsor here moving forward. So we'll see how that goes, but we're not going to sell out. Don't worry. But yes, Frank, we plan to continue doing these shows every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. for about an hour. And hopefully you guys enjoy them. It is a little tedious for me sometimes, but it's a great opportunity to sit and talk with you guys and answer some of the questions that you have. Brandon said, how's the fishing in April, May versus November-ish? Well, it's a little different. In April, May, we're transitioning into that hotter weather, where right now we're kind of transitioning into that cooler weather. Typically, in November, it's already cool or cold. So this year's November is very similar to April, May this year, just because it's getting cold so late in the year. But it really I love the transitional times. That time, April, May, really even sometimes March, April, May, and then that October, November time where you're transitioning from a hot to a cold, or a cold to a hot, cold to a hot. It seems to really get the fish exciting. The Gulf is moving. There's a lot of currents. There's a lot of pressure gradients. We're getting a lot of storm action, and it really stirs things up and gets those fish excited and moving and feeding. But there's really no bad time of the year to go fishing. In Florida and Central West Florida, we're blessed with a beautiful grouper and snapper fishery, and the fishing's good all year. It kind of depends on what you want to catch as to what's going to dictate when the best time of year is to go. For example, if you want red snapper, they're only open from the beginning of June till around the end of July. This upcoming year, we expect our red snapper season to be June 1st to around July 26th. So we have a nice long red snapper season. We're expecting our amberjack season to be May, August, September, and October. We're expecting our red grouper to be open January 1st through hopefully most of the year. We're expecting gag grouper to be open June 1st through the end of the year. Mangroves are open all year. Scamp are open all year. So a lot of great opportunities to catch fish in the upcoming 2019 fishing year. Let's see what other questions we have here. Oh, one quick programming note. Fred Craig does a lot of hurricane relief for the Panama City area, Mexico City Beach area, and the Panhandle of Florida. So he's going up for another Panhandle relief trip. This is his 4th trip to the Panhandle, bringing our friends up north items they need, like clothes, water, cleaning products, personal hygiene items, blankets, and large tarps. You can drop those type of items off to Mr. Fred Craig Monday through Wednesday this coming week, or next week, Monday through Friday, at his company, Profusion. That's 1701 South Belcher Road in Largo. Profusion. So a great opportunity to give back to some of the guys and gals up in the Panhandle of Florida that are still recovering from Hurricane Michael. I appreciate your efforts there, Fred Craig. Really cool. You're taking time away from your business to go do that for our fellow Floridians. So I appreciate it, and I'm happy to share it here on the video. Hopefully some of you guys can bring some products to his drop-off. Kathy Stockton said, what is the target fish in February and March? that is a great time for blackfin tuna on our longer range trips. That is one of my favorite times for hogfish in February and March. Also, we have a great bite of mangrove snapper in February and March. The problem with February and March is you have kind of turbulent weather. You have the cold front still in February, and then in March, as it warms up, you get these strong winds, a lot of times high pressures and stuff like that. So the weather can be turbulent in February and March, but as long as the weather is nice, the fishing is great. Blackfin tuna offshore, lots of hogfish near shore and inshore, so great time to get out and go fishing. Also, the scamp are biting well in February and March. So all in all, Kathy, great time to get out there. John Beck said, what length rod do you suggest for a 39-hour fishing trip? Great question, John. Me personally, I don't necessarily go after a certain length of rod. Let me see here. I did a video with Salt Strong. Let's see if I can find it. No, it's not going to pop up. I think it was on their insider fishing group that I did that with Salt Strong. But I did a great video where we walked through dogfish tackle and actually picked out some rods and reels, and I showed you how to look for the best rods and reels to use for offshore fishing. And what I look for when I'm shopping for a rod and reel is either 6'6" to about 7 foot. I don't like going any more than 7 foot, not for any other reason other than it's hard to transport. I don't like going shorter than 6'6" because you just don't get the action that you need, and you don't get enough of a bend in the rod. The longer the rod, the more it bends, and the more it's going to tire the fish out, and you're going to have to work less hard. So for big grouper, big amberjack, an 8-foot rod is great. But traveling with an 8-foot rod in your vehicle is not great. And putting that rod in your house is not great. So me personally, I like 6'6" to 7 foot, maybe 7'2" or 7'4" at most. But that 6'6" to 7 range is where I like to stay. And mainly what I'm looking for when I buy a rod is something with a strong backbone and a very sensitive tip. And I like a really light, well-balanced rod. I worked personally with Bull Bay Rods right here in Lakeland. It's a family-owned and operated local company, and we made some custom rods for Hubbard's Marina. It's a Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina rod. We sell them in our shop. They are beautiful rods and reels. They're like a samurai sword. They're so well balanced, and oh my gosh, you could feel a pinfish fart. They are so sensitive. So really recommend those Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina rods. If you're looking for a rod, stop by our shop. We have a few of them left, and I just made a huge order. I ordered 18 more rods from Bull Bay Rods, and we should have them just in time for around mid-December. For those of you in our Regulars Club, they'll be here for our Regulars Club Christmas party. For those of you not in our Regulars Club, around mid-December, we should have those new line of Bull Bay rods. We changed the foregrip up a little bit to make them even better and even easier to hold that rod when you're fighting a big fish. So definitely excited for those new rods in the shop. So let's see here what other questions we have. Tom Ray said, did Smokey's Stinger rig that you showed at the beginning of this video have any weight or a planer on it, or strictly no weight flatline bounce it across the surface? Tom Ray, that rig that Smokey showed that will be added to our YouTube page was strictly a flat line. That's when we're drifting or we're anchored up bottom fishing, and we just free line that off the back of the boat. No weight, no planer, no nothing. Just free line it in the current. If we're drifting, you don't need anything. You just let out maybe 25, 30, 40 yards. And you let that thing sit out there in the drift of the boat. We'll keep that up on the surface. If you're anchor fishing and you don't have a current, sometimes you'll need to put a little balloon on it and let that dangle anywhere from about 6 to 10 feet below the surface of the water. And the wave action is going to make that balloon go up and down, and it's going to make that threadfin or dead bait bounce. And it really gets a lot of good mackerel, kingfish, tuna, cobia, and even billfish action occasionally. So that was just strictly a flatline rig. Garrett Easley said the double Snell rig video, how to tie it, was a great video, but how do you bait it? Garrett, that's a great question I've got before, and I'm really dropping the ball not making a video for that. So we're going to be adding that one to our YouTube video collection this week, and that's how to bait a double Snell rig. I almost got it done today, but I was a little bit buried in busy work, so I apologize for that, but we're definitely going to be working on it. Fred Craig said, can I bring a drone with me to film some action on the Flying Hub 2? Of course, you guys are always welcome to bring your drones with you, but you do need prior permission. You do need to let me know, and I need to talk to the captain because all those drones have GPS issues. But on certain trips with certain captains in certain situations, it's not a problem. On our half-day fishing trips, not a problem. On our Flying Hub 2 trips, occasionally it's not a problem. We just need to make sure we coordinate that. And you can fly them around all you want, but you have to share any videos that you get with me. Sorry. And that's not a problem. So yes, you could definitely bring your drone out on the boat, and most of the time it's not an issue to fly it around. Let's see what other questions we have here. Manuel OJ said, is there any live bait around Johns Pass, and what kind? We're seeing a lot of white bait around Johns Pass, especially in the morning time. We have huge flocks of seabirds out there eating the white bait, anywhere from in the pass to the bridge to inside the jetties, all the way back by the islands. We're seeing those schools of white bait move around. We don't have a lot of pinfish around Johns Pass right now, but a lot of those greenbacks, threadfins, glass minnows, we see a lot of that type of bait around. Denores Hall said, will bringing my own squid give me a fighting chance of the red grouper? Denores, we have plenty of squid on the boat. We provide squid wings. We have whole squid in the shop if you'd like to purchase that. We've also got baby octopus frozen in the shop, which I strongly recommend. Or you can troll on the way out and catch bonita, or you could buy frozen bonita in our shop. All those baits give you a great option for those red grouper, or you can use some of the baits that you catch out there, chunk them up or butterfly them for a great opportunity for a red grouper as well. All awesome options: bonita, squid strips, whole squid, baby octopus, or butterfly or chunked up bait that you catch while you're offshore. Let's see what other questions we have here. Michael Kane said he broke his star rod in half on his boat. I'm coming for one of those Bull Bay rods as soon as I can. What warranty on them, if any? They are a lifetime warranty on those Bull Bay rods as far as manufacturer issues or breaking the rod. I'm a pretty big guy, and I tried to break that strong grouper stick we got from Bull Bay rods, and I could not. I hooked up on a huge Goliath grouper with it. I doubled that rod over, put it on the rail, and just couldn't even budge it. So they are bad to the bone sticks. Great sensitivity, off the chart strength, really good looking rods too, well balanced, super light. You pair that nice grouper rod with one of those Saltigas, you'll never put it down, trust me. I haven't yet. Let's see here. John Sanders said, what is your opinion on the must-release fish that are pulled up from deep and are going to die anyway after release? John, there should be no fish that you catch that can't swim down and live. If you properly vent your fish and properly dehook your fish, you should have absolutely hardly zero dead discards. During red snapper season, I had a trip with the FWC where we were doing a pilot project on descending devices and venting tools, and we were fishing about 150 to about 180 foot of water, so that's very deep water. And we were catching red snapper, we were catching undersized red grouper, we were catching vermilion snapper, mangrove snapper, and we were catching these fish, venting them and releasing them, catching these fish and using a descending device to release them. And we did not lose but one single fish out of the 240 some odd fish we caught in a very short amount of time. So really, there's nothing out there that you can't properly dehook and vent quickly. The trick is getting it off the hook as quickly as possible, vent it as quickly as possible, and into the water as quickly as possible. Because when these fish come up from the bottom, every second that they're on the surface, their barotrauma gets worse. So you have to get that fish back into the water so it can start recuperating from that barotrauma as quickly as possible. So when I catch a fish that I know is undersized or out of season, I bring it onto the boat. I use my dehooker to dehook it in seconds. It hits the deck. I pull out the venting tool that I keep right on my hip. I pop the bladder and get that fish back into the water quickly. What you can do is just simply open Google and type in how to vent a fish salt strong, and this page is going to pop up first, how to vent a fish. And this is the page right here, and it's a great how-to on how to properly vent and release those fish. I made this video with Salt Strong. There's a video right here, and we're going to watch it because you asked. All right, so I got the fish up off the bottom. When I felt that bite, I gave him a quick couple spins of the reel to hook that fish. Now I've got him hooked, and I'm up off the bottom, so I'm just going to finesse him. If he digs, I'm going to let him dig, and I'm just going to slowly reel him up. So he's digging a little bit. This, to me, feels like a nice snapper, shaking his head a little bit. What's funny is a lot of these snapper species, they have kind of the same head shake. Kind of a quicker head shake, a little easy to tell what's a snapper. And a lot of times the snapper species will kind of give up. I have a feeling here in a second we'll see my rod tip kind of come up a little bit, and he'll kind of give up a little. See right there, his head shakes. He stopped digging. He's just kind of coming up smoothly now. So with these red snapper, trick to these guys, get them vented quickly. And you never want to poke or try to vent the fish in his stomach. You always want to try to vent the fish right where his fin kind of comes down. You can use the pectoral fin as a target. You just lift up the scale and puncture right in there through his swim bladder, and you'll hear the air escape. Once that air escapes, he's ready to go back down to bottom. That air escaping is what allows him to swim back down to bottom. If you don't vent the fish, he's going to float away and die. So it's very important that you vent the fish properly, get him back in the water quickly. That way he has a chance to go back down and live another day. That way you can catch him next year when he gets a little bit bigger. So that was a great video from Salt Strong on how to properly vent a fish. And there's a lot more on that page I just showed you. All you Google is how to vent a fish, Salt Strong, and that's going to pull up that page. You'll watch that video. You can read all the information there. If you properly vent a fish quickly and get them back into the water quickly, you're not going to lose anything. What kills me, what drives me crazy is you can hold up a snook by its bottom jaw and let it hang, and you're going to get crucified on social media. You killed that snook. I can't believe you held it like that. But during red snapper season, these guys are the same guy that was yelling at someone about holding the snook wrong is holding up a red snapper. And behind him, there's 5 to 6 red snapper floating dead on the surface. And no one says a word. To me, that's ridiculous. Holding a snook wrong is going to kill one fish. But obviously, in that photo, the red snapper, you've got 6 dead fish behind you. In just one photo, how many other fish did that angler have float away from his boat to feed the sharks and the birds? You have to vent your fish. If you're fishing with us past 70 to 80 foot of water and you're not venting the fish, you're going to hear about it. And it's not cool. It's just not right. It's not good stewardship. So you have to properly vent your fish. If you don't know how to do it, watch that video. So that's how I feel about it, Josh. Sorry to go off on you a little bit there, but it's important that everybody learns how to properly vent your fish. What other questions we have here? Donna Maria, the question of the last couple months, says, how safe are the fish to eat caught offshore considering the red tide? What is the width of the red tide offshore? Donna Marie, one of the things that the FWRI, that's the Florida Fish and Florida Wildlife Research Institute, says about red tide is it does not affect the fish. If you catch a fish that's healthy and alive, he is 100,000% safe to eat. So there's no reason you shouldn't be able to eat any fish that you catch while offshore fishing. Anything that you catch that's legal size and that's healthy to eat is going to be safe to eat. So let me pop this photo in for you guys, and I'll show you a red tide update, Maria, since you asked. This is from our good friend meteorologist Brian Bennett. He does a great little red tide update, and here we go. So this is the current red tide, current yesterday. Again, meteorologist Brian Bennett. The comments on his posts are wild and outrageous, so you can ignore those. But you can see here decent beach conditions off our coast. This is Johns Pass area right in here, so real decent beach conditions right now. But just to our south, we have a pretty strong area of red tide. It's extending about 15 miles offshore. In my opinion, we still have a lot of red tide up here to the north. As we travel up to the northwest to the middle grounds, we're running through some of that, and that's what's still killing our live bait. But the red tide is definitely moving south out of Pinellas County. Today, out at Shell Key, the conditions are getting a lot better. I would imagine by the end of this week, if the conditions stay the same, it will continue to get better and better. So the red tide is definitely moving south once again. These poor people down here off of Fort Myers are just getting demolished yet again by red tide, and it sucks. But luckily for us, it's kind of out of our area. So we are definitely seeing red tide effects. There's definitely still some red tide in the area, but overall, all in all, it's a lot better the last couple days, and we're hoping this trend continues. Like I said, we're going to try to get out some live bait on this weekend's 39 hours, so we'll see what happens. Oddly Chastain said, I know I could probably ask the airlines this, but how much and how would I bring fish over here to Indiana if I make a 39-hour trip this winter? Normally, I'd stay in a condo for weeks at a time, so it'd be easy to freeze a bunch. I know for myself how I've traveled with fish when I was up in Michigan salmon fishing, or when I go out to California, or when I go down south to the Caribbean. What I do is I take a soft-sided cooler. I fold it up in my suitcase. I prefer an Engel cooler. I'll fold it up in my suitcase, and what I'll do is I'll freeze the fish with a little bit of water in a Ziploc bag, and I'll get it nice and flat and frozen, and I'll freeze a couple bags full of frozen fish, and then I'll take some I'll go to the store before I leave, and in that soft-sided cooler, I'll put some of the ice block things that you used to use in your lunchbox, and I'll freeze a couple bags of fish, and I'll freeze those lunchbox frozen things. I don't know what you call them. Engel Cooler makes a really badass version of them. You can buy them on their website, and I'll freeze all that stuff. I'll pack it in a soft-sided cooler with some paper towels around the outside of them to try to insulate it a little bit. I'll close up that soft-sided cooler, and I'll bring it on the airplane as a carry-on. Customs is a B word to get through with frozen fish, but as long as it's a domestic flight, you should have no problem flying with that frozen fish as a carry-on. I've done it often without issue, but we do have a local company here called Sending TLC. That's sending, like sending a package, TLC, and you can contact them. They'll actually come to your condo, they'll pick up their fish, they'll pack them, freeze them, and ship them to your front door. They can also just take your frozen fish and just simply ship them for you. They have a bunch of options at Sending TLC if you want to catch fish with us and send them to your house. But we do have a restaurant right next door that offers to cook your fresh fish, and that's a great option too. So let's see here. The last question we have is, when is the 2019 fishing trip schedule available? That's going to come out December 1st. So December 1st is when our 2019 schedule for the 39-hour trips are going to come out. We're going to have some more information on that in upcoming videos and upcoming email newsletters. I would strongly encourage you to join our email newsletter if you have not already. And how you sign up for that email newsletter is very simple. You just pull up your internet browser, goes to hubbardsmarina.com. When you're on our website, on the bottom right-hand corner of our website, you can sign up for your... You can sign up for our email newsletter by just entering your email there, and clicking send is a great way to stay tuned to our email newsletter. That email newsletter comes out every Friday. Also, if you don't want to sign up and you don't like getting emails, you can always stay tuned by going to Fishing Trips and then Hubbard's Marina Fishing Reports. This is going to bring us to our fishing newsletter page, and every week's newsletter is posted right here. You can just click read more and see all the fishing reports and what's been going on at Hubbard's Marina and what's upcoming at Hubbard's Marina. It looks like our fishing reports page is a little out of date, but we work really hard to keep this as up to date as possible. The best way to stay tuned, though, is, like I said, by signing up for that newsletter, because a lot of times we'll send out little newsletters to remind you of seminars coming up. We'll remind you of light trips. We'll tell you about certain things like the schedule coming out, stuff like that. So our newsletter is a great resource. Also, stay tuned to our live videos that we do every morning, where we talk about fishing reports, red tide update, and we talk about what's going on at Hubbard's Marina, and we show you the beautiful sunrise as well. So hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. Remember, guys, every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. Next week, we're going to have the video that shows you how to hook a double snell rig. We're going to have more videos from the captain and crew, hopefully some more tips and tricks. Remember, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy. Don't forget about those super light 39-hour trips coming up November 27th, December 4th. And we'll see you next week, 8:30 p.m. Please help us out by liking and sharing this video if you have not. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next week, 8:30 p.m. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you enjoyed the show, comment on the show. Comment on the video here. Let us know how you did, how I did, and how you enjoyed it. Let me know if you like the videos, if you want to see more, or if you want to suggest a topic for next week. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. Have a wonderful night and have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving.